Tonight, we give you the inside scoop on the Harvard-Yale game. What is the history of this legendary college rivalry, and what is the team's strategy this year?
Also, we sat down with some of the players to learn about Coach Reno's strategy on and off the field.
Stay tuned for these stories and more. It's your Yale, your week, and your news. Hello and welcome to YTV's last full broadcast of the year. I'm Stefina Yuli. To start, we'll go to Nicole Daly in the newsroom, filling in for Michael Leopold with this week's headlines.
Following his involvement in a sexual harassment case earlier this month, Michael Simons has officially been removed from his positions as Chief of Cardiology at the Yale School of Medicine and Director of Yale Cardiovascular Research Center. A review of Simons' leadership was conducted earlier in the year, but the findings were declared confidential by Yale in light of the harsh responses to the case. Faculty members have expressed frustration over the lack of transparency throughout the process leading up to Simons' removal, claiming the majority of their information has come from news coverage and not from the university. The Yale College Council recently announced a new university policy that limits a final exam from being worth more than 50% of a student's grade. YCC voted to recommend this change at the end of fall 2013, and the Course of Study Committee approved the request this year. The YCC asked that students report the overly weighted exams to the YCC. On Tuesday, faculty and staff received an email from the senior administration stating that Yale would continue the 3-year 5% budget target set last year. The statement clarified that despite the positive news, which includes a slight surplus in the fiscal year 2014, the pressures from rising costs and new initiatives necessitate the measures. While faculty interviewed were largely unsurprised, many remained unconvinced by the justifications provided. The university's surplus in fiscal 2014 was 0.5% of its operating budget. Facing a projected cost overrun of $59 million, Governor Donnell Malloy has called for a statewide public hiring freeze for non-critical positions. The hiring freeze comes less than 2 weeks after the conclusion of a close-run gubernatorial race. The governor will also reveal a list of spending cuts soon. The Hartford Courant reported last week that the state's public unions were monitoring the situation and would likely cooperate with the governor's office in the coming months. That's it for this week's headlines. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Nicole. The 131st Harvard-Yale game will be filled with tailgates, pranks, and team spirit. As Yaleys prepare for the festivities, we take a moment to reflect upon the game's history. Lily Rifkin gives us more.
Red versus blue, crimson versus bulldog. This weekend, thousands of Yaleys will make their way to Harvard Stadium to watch the 131st Harvard-Yale game. But where did this rivalry begin? And what makes the game so special? The Harvard-Yale rivalry is the oldest college rivalry in American sports, but it's not just this that makes the game significant. The very first Harvard-Yale game in November of 1875 was the second American football game played between U.S. colleges. Because of this, winning the game became so paramount that in 1916, Yale coach T.A.D. Jones told his players, "Gentlemen, you are now going to play football against Harvard. Never again in your life will you do anything so important." Ivy League schools actually played the leading role in the development of American football in the late 19th century. Football's creator, Walter Camp, was even a Yale graduate. Football's current rules, conventions, and equipment were pioneered or invented at Harvard or Yale. Even atmospheric aspects like tailgates, mascots, and fight songs can trace their origins back to the rivalry. The Harvard-Yale tailgate party of 2004 was even televised by ESPN. But the game isn't just about football. Pranks between Harvard and Yale students also have a rivalry and history of their own. The first prank took place in 1933, when Harvard Lampoon members kidnapped Handsome Dan II. The morning after a 1906 Harvard win, a photograph of Handsome Dan licking the feet of the John Harvard statue ran on the front page of papers throughout the nation. Since then, pranks like parody newspaper headlines, scoreboard messages, cheer placard tricking, and of course last year's fake tour of Yale have become commonplace. As of November 2013, 130 games have been played. Yale has 65 wins and Harvard has 57 wins, with 8 games ending in ties. Right now, Yale is the longest winning streak with 8 consecutive games from 1880 to 1889. However, Harvard's current 7-game winning streak is the second longest in the series. We'll see this Saturday whether or not they'll even the score at the Harvard Stadium. From YTV, this has been Lily Rivkin.
The Harvard-Yale game will decide who will take home the Ivy League championship.
With campus talk of the game and our team strategy, YTV took an inside look at Yale football coach Tony Reno, looking at his relationship with his players and how that translates to his attitude on the field. Reporter Kate Walker tells us more.
When you ask head coach Reno's players to describe him, there's one word that they consistently use.
He's one of the most passionate guys I've ever met.
He's intense and he's passionate, very fiery, very tough, very passionate.
That passion has been spurring on the Bulldogs since 2012 when Reno became head coach. In his rookie season, the team walked away with a tough 2-8 record. The following year, the team improved slightly with a 5-5 record. Now, in just 3 years' time, the Bulldogs hold an 8-1 record, and the chance of an Ivy League championship if they beat Harvard this weekend. Reno's players and colleagues credit much of this success to the coach's hands-on leadership style.
You talk about having a leader and him exemplifying what a leader is, and that's putting the team before him and putting everybody else before himself. And also, he just grinds. I've never seen anybody work as hard. Really just first guy in the office, last guy out type of mentality.
I've always admired the way he handles in-game situations and making sure that all his players are confident in what they're doing.
He's a hands-on coach. He does monitor all of the positions. He knows exactly what's going on at all of the positions on offense, on defense. He coaches the special teams as well.
Under Reno's direction, the team experience isn't limited to their time under the lights of the football field. He has tried to instill in his players a brotherhood that extends beyond football.
I like to be close to the players too. I like to have a great relationship with them where it's about a family. It's not just about coaches and players being separate, much more about us being together.
He's a guy that is so family oriented with the culture of Yale. It's one of the best things about being a football player here at Yale is there's a family type atmosphere. There's a brotherhood within the locker room. The coaches' kids are running around on Sundays.
That brotherly approach also shows in mentorship programs, which Reno started when he became head coach. They include an academic program for freshmen and a career services network, which links current players to alumni.
Intrinsically, they just have that feeling that they want to get it done and they want to work together because of some of the programs that Coach Reno has established, and it shows that he cares for them beyond 2 hours on the football field.
Life from the Yale football playing field to their life after you graduate.
This is just the tip of the iceberg this season. It's going to be like this for many, many years that he's here.
For YTV, this has been Kate Walker.
Tony Reno has been the head coach of Yale's football team since January 2012.
And much of Tony Reno's sentiment is shared with his players. Reporters Becca Faust and Wayne Zhang investigated the team's strategy as they prepare for their final game of the season. Let's take a look.
This is the team that has turned around the Yale football program because they have played every down, every drive, every quarter with great intensity. This is a team that can beat Harvard. This is a team that has showed us in every game this year what they're made of.
Tomorrow, the Yale football team will travel to Cambridge, Massachusetts to partake in a centuries-old tradition, continuing the oldest rivalry in college football.
When it comes to the game on Saturday, to us, Harvard's just another faceless opponent, just like all the other 9 games were. We approach it the same way, focus on the process.
For us, our goal is to focus on the next 200 feet, like what's directly in front of us. And this team has done that better than any team I've been a part of. So I think as long as we stay true to who we are, we'll be fine.
Nonetheless, the team's stellar performance this season makes the stakes for tomorrow's game higher than those of years past. Should Yale win, the team will share the Ivy League title with Harvard. But should they lose, the title will be left to the Crimson.
Especially after we won the Army game, we really felt that this could be something special. And then as we progress to the Ivy League schedule, except for the one loss at Dartmouth, our team has performed very well, and we're just very excited to have the opportunity to compete for the Ivy League title.
We have a lot of respect for those guys up in Cambridge, as much as we hate to say it. You know, they have a winning program. Their biggest strength lie all over the field. You know, they're disciplined, they're a good team, so we look forward to measuring ourselves against them.
For students in their final year, this is the last game they'll play as part of the Yale football program. But until the final play ends, the Bulldogs are focused on one thing and one thing only: playing the best game that they can.
When you start worrying about outcome, then you lose focus on your next task at hand. But right now, when you're living in it, you just try to do everything you can to prepare for the game and you know, make sure that your preparation is as good as it can be.
I hope you will join me up in Cambridge for what I know promises to be a great game. And I know that at the end of it, the Bulldogs will be victorious and we will be Ivy League champions. Go Bulldogs!
For YTV, this has been Rebecca Faust, Wayne Zhang, and Peter Chung.
This season, Yale has averaged 43 points per game, which is more than Harvard's 32.9.
As always, we end with our Everybody Has a Story segment. This week, Cody Pomeranz sat down with former White House Press Secretary Jay Carney. Carney graduated from Yale College in 1987 and has also worked with Time Magazine and ABC News. Here are highlights from that interview.
Jay, thanks for being here.
Cody, thanks for having me.
You have to be locked in a room for 24 hours with either Jonathan Karl of ABC News or Ed Henry of Fox. Who do you choose?
That sounds like torture. In either case, if I guess John Karl.
I didn't expect that. Okay. Number 5, I know the president has done, Reddit, chat rooms, Google Hangouts, you name it. He's on Twitter, he's on Facebook. When is President Obama going to get a Snapchat?
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think. I mean, if the medium itself lends itself to the purposes that the White House is looking to pursue, because the whole idea is to try to get your message to stick, to try to saturate, to try to leave some residue. And if the purpose of Snapchat is to be there and disappear and not have a lasting impact,
but he can send some vengeful Snapchats to Ted Cruz or something.
That would be pretty fun. Maybe he's doing it already.
Would you rather be press secretary for President Frank Underwood or President Mitt Romney?
Romney. Romney, not my politics, but at least to my knowledge hasn't murdered anybody.
Oh, that's a spoiler.
Yeah.
People haven't watched. In my family, your glasses have become legendary. So I was dared by my 5 older siblings to ask you if
5 older siblings?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
3 sisters, 2 brothers. They dared me to ask you if I could try them on.
Yeah, sure. Here you go.
All right.
It's they're Warby Parker frames. Good company.
Well, Jay Carney, thanks so much for joining us.
All right, Cody. Thank you. It's a pleasure. I hope you can see okay.
As always, if wherever the camera is, thank you for joining us. This has been YTV. Everybody Has a Story. I'm Cody Pomerantz. See you next time.
To watch the full interview, visit the Yale Daily News website.
And that concludes this week's news segment. For now, stay tuned to find out just what Yaleys are thankful for this Thanksgiving.
Thanks for watching. Safe travels to Cambridge and best of luck to the Bulldogs. It's your Yale, your week, and your news.
Thanksgiving is just around the corner, so we wanted to find out what Yaleys are thankful for this year. Complete the sentence. This Thanksgiving, I'm thankful for
my family, my friends in Yale. I'm thankful for the fact that I'll be together with my vast extended family.
The fantastic community that I found, both back at home and at Yale.
All the support of my life.
For the fact that so much food to eat, so much delicious food, lots of turkey, lots of sweet potatoes, lots of pumpkin pie, and I'll be eating it with my family and my dog.
My first winter coat.
Being alive and keeping it strong until now.
I'm thankful for Soul Penguin.
Not having homework.
I'm thankful for my family.
My family.
My family.
My family.
Family. I'm thankful for the philosophical arguments against solipsism so that I know that the rest of the world actually exists.
This Thanksgiving, I'll probably be thankful that No Shave November is almost done.
From family to friends to food, there's a lot to be thankful for this Thanksgiving. This has been Celine Tien and Nora Tien for YTV.